Hello everyone, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to be doing another video like this because I haven't done one like this in so long, and I actually love filming these types of videos. So, as if you couldn't tell by the title of the video, we are actually going to be tier ranking every single book that I read this summer. So I actually didn't do a reading wrap up for June, July, and or August. So this is going to be my summer reading wrap up basically. I was thinking of doing like statistics in the beginning, but it just like wouldn't be worth it because the amount of romance books that I read, it's basically all of them. Okay, so I basically only read romance this summer with like a handful of literally with a handful of thrillers and fantasies on one hand. I could fit the amount that I read basically on one hand. We're not gonna be doing any statistics because I basically only read some romances. So we are going to be we are going to be tier ranking every single book that I read this summer. So in total, I actually ended up reading about 30 books. Some of them, I don't think I put the ones that were on here, but I did DNF one of them, which was The Idea of You. So that's not even included on here. I have 30 books that we need to tier rank. Let's just get into it, okay? All right, here are the tiers that we are going based off of, okay? We have at the very bottom, forgettable. You know, like I said, it's very forgettable. Forgot that I read it. You know, the whole 9 yards. Okay, don't need to talk much about that. Next, we have mid. It was just kind of there. You know, very mid, very meh. You know. Okay. Next up, we have very cute, very fun, very demure. I thought that'd be a little fun one to put in there. Very cute, very fun, very demure. Okay, and if you don't know what demure means modest. The only type of books that will absolutely be going in this category are books that are not too spicy as well. I know it's like a weird little thing, but that's what we're putting in there. The next one is loved, obviously with all caps, because do I need to explain? No. Okay. And then the last one we have is obsessed, because it means I'm obsessed with this book. I don't think there's going to be any in this category, but I wanted to put it there just in case, okay? Because to be quite honest, I did have a very summer filled reading. Yes. No? That's not the phrase. A reading filled summer? I think that was it. Okay, a reading filled summer. Okay, maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. Anyways, I did read a lot this summer. Over the past 3 months, I read about 30-ish books, which accumulates to probably about 10 books a month, obviously, within 3 months. But to be quite honest, I don't know. I was in a really big slump this summer, so, nothing really hit that well. I also haven't had a 5-star read since January. So that's something that's going on right now. So love that for me. Anyways, going a little off topic for just 2 seconds. My husband, he does sales for a living, so he goes to appointments people ask for, to sell them something. He sells, basement stuff so that, moisture doesn't get into your basement or something. I don't know exactly what he does. It's not important. He literally just, is at a house in our neighborhood, actually. It's the house that I'm absolutely obsessed with. And if I was able to buy a house in this neighborhood, this would be the house I'd pick. So that's kind of funny. Anyways, okay, let's get started into tier ranking these books. First book we have is Out on a Limb. Don't even need to, it's going into loved. I can't tell you enough how much I absolutely loved this book. Just the chemistry, the storyline itself, the characters, everything about this book was just so good. Especially during the time that I was reading it. I read this during my 7 Kindle books in 7 days. It absolutely, this book hit, okay? When I'm telling you, I know a lot of books didn't hit for me this summer. This one did, okay? This one, it had such a fun little concept. It also has, great representation in the book with amputees and deformed limbs. The author herself actually has the deformed limb that the main girl has in the book, which I thought was just such a cute little thing to write in there, because it's oh my god, that's just you. It's you in a book, and that's just so great. And I just love that for her, and I love that she did that, because I've actually never seen a book like that or character like that. So I really liked she put that in there. And then he also is has an amputated leg. I really liked seeing them overcome the struggles that they had together, because if you don't know, this is a accidental pregnancy trope, but it's done so well, you guys. And I know a lot of people do not like accidental pregnancy. I personally don't mind it. It's not actually a trope I hate. I know some people don't like it, but let me tell you, this one does it very well. They really do focus on being good co-parents before they are in a relationship. Obviously, it starts out with this one night stand, but they do really work together before getting into this relationship to be good parents for this baby, not even knowing if they're going to be together, you know what I mean? So I really, really liked that aspect of the book. And yeah, and I actually highly recommend that you read it, okay? If you take anything away, read this book. Next up, we have Awake at Dawn. Now, I don't know where I want to put this because this one was very cute, very fun, very demure, but it was spicy. She was spicy, but I did really like her a lot. So I'm actually going to put her up in loved, okay? Because I really did like her a lot. This is a second book in a series. I don't remember what the series is called. This is a sports romance, and again, another accidental pregnancy, except he's not the baby daddy. The fun thing about this one though was like she did a really good job of making you root for the two characters and like making you root for the fact that you wish that he was the baby daddy, because he is such a good man to her and like such a good dad in general, where it really makes you wish that she had written the book differently so that he could have been the dad, but in a way he still was the dad, you know? So it was just, yeah. Anyways, he's a professional footballer. It's his best friend's sister and he's had a crush on her for a long time. And she's a figure skating coach. Love that. Okay, let's move on before I get, anyways. Okay, The Wildcat. Again, another one where I loved it. Okay, let's go here. I loved it. This one gives Wattpad and it eats. Okay, let me tell you, this whole series, the Wildcat, that's the third book, but there is multiple connected series to just this series. This is like the Playing to Win series that this is a part of. I've read the first two in it. You don't have to read them all in order, but it's a ginormous series that Bella Matthews has written, and she's still writing it. Okay, like she has just started another series that's coming out. Okay, but let me tell you about this book. This book, it's a hockey romance. The main girl is like, this rich socialite. She's also a NFL cheerleader and he is a professional hockey player. Her family owns the NFL team. He's a professional hockey player, as if I hadn't said that. And he is also a single dad. So clearly we got a theme going on here within these books. And I didn't do this on purpose. Of course the first three had to do with babies and being a single parent, and you know what I mean? Anyways, this really gave Wattpad. It really did eat. Plotline, I couldn't tell you what it was, but it was fun and it was a good time, okay? Let me tell you. Very spicy. But it's just a fun read, okay? You know when you just need a silly, goofy time? That's for this. That's when you need this, okay? Today, Tonight, and Tomorrow. This one, very cute, very fun, very demure. I did absolutely really enjoy this. I did actually love it, but I'm gonna put it in here. This is a what am I saying? Oh my God. This is a young adult novel. This book actually takes place over a 24-hour time span, and it's like the last day of school, basically. So they are graduating seniors and they are about to go off to school. And basically this is an enemies to lovers little like adventure, young adult, like scavenger hunt type book. They play a game of assassin and they have to go on this little scavenger hunt for the last day. Did that make sense? No. Okay, the juniors put on this little game for the seniors who are graduating. They are mortal enemies, not mortal enemies, but they are, high school rivals. And they decide to team up so that they can both win this game together. I couldn't tell you anything else about the book, honestly, at this point, because I read it a while ago. It was really fun. Like I said, it's a great young adult read. Very obviously takes place in high school, last day of school. I keep saying the same things over and over and over again. But it's a really fun little book, It just like it takes you throughout their day. They go on this nice little adventure. They become friends. They get to know each other. And they actually figure out that they enjoy spending time together. It's weird to think like that they build a relationship off of this 24-hour time span. But you have to go back and think about the fact that they have known each other for so long because they've been in high school together. It's just more of like they haven't known each other on this level. It's a very surface level of what they've known each other as for the past 4 years, and then they get to know each other a little bit better. Next up, we have Heartless Hunter. Again, this is a very cute, very fun, very demure fantasy book. Okay, this is a young adult fantasy. It really does give Powerless, so if you really liked Powerless, I think you'll really like this book. Basically, it's an enemies to lovers. She's a witch and he's a witch hunter. He's a witch hunter. Basically, like the political world of whatever this takes place in, I can't remember exactly. Within this political world, they want to get rid of all the witches. They feel like the witches, like use their magic to take advantage of people. They have the upper hand, this and that. They want to basically murder all of these witches. The main girl is basically living undercover as a witch. She is a socialite in this world. Like, she's not a nobody, and that's how she's like being undercover as a witch, because she's a very popular person within this realm or like town that she lives in. She's very undercover about the fact that she's a witch, and she's getting by being a witch, pretending not to be a witch. Follows Rune and Gideon. Like I said, they are enemies to lovers, and yeah, it's a fun little romance. This is going to be a duology. The second book comes out very, very soon, so I do recommend that you read this book. It was a really good time. I liked it, but I didn't love it necessarily because it did remind me so much of Powerless, and I wasn't a big fan of Powerless, so that's kind of like its only downfall. If I didn't read Powerless and I read this, I think I would have eaten it, you know? I think I would have ate. So I think it's just like a me thing. Anyways, next up, Darling Girls by Sally Hepworth. It was very mid. Okay, it's very much more a mystery than a thriller. I think this is definitely marketed as a thriller. I would not call it that. The plot is very easy to guess, considering what you find out in the beginning of the book. I feel like the biggest plot twist is definitely in the epilogue, the last part of the book, because it's not something you're necessarily expecting with the narrative that you have been reading about. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. Okay, next up we have Wildfire by Henry Race. Okay, so now I think I'm just gonna put this one in loved, because I wasn't obsessed, but I loved this one a lot. Like, after I read it, when I was reading it, I was just like having a silly, goofy, fun time, okay? I think I'm gonna put it in loved. If you guys don't know, this takes place at a summer camp. It follows Russ and Aurora, and Russ and Aurora go to the same college. They end up having a one-night stand, and then literally like the next day or the next week, they see each other at this camp that they are both gonna be counselors at, and they're like, oh my gosh, okay. To realize that they now are spending this whole summer together. It's really cute, really fun. Like, if you feel nostalgic about summer camp, this is definitely a book for you. That's something I loved. I never went to a camp like this, but I went to summer camp like basically every year that I was a kid. It just like really gave summer vibes, and I really, really loved that. I also loved the romance between Russ and Aurora. They were just so cute together. I absolutely love Russ. Chef's kiss. Okay, chef's kiss to him. Moving on. I don't have anything else to say about it other than the fact that I loved it. So, Just the Nicest Couple. I'm gonna put this as forgettable, because not that I've forgotten that I've read it, I've actually thought about this book, but I've thought about the fact about, not like that I didn't like it, but I thought like, wow, that book could have been so much better. That's how I've thought about it. So I'm just leaving it there. I don't know if I would call it a thriller. Again, I would call this one a mystery. It was just like boring, kind of. Like, the beginning was interesting, then it just like fell so flat. I felt like it could have been way better. Like, so much better than what it gave. She kind of like tricked you into this plot line that never happened, if that makes sense. Like, granted, I don't want to say anything to like give anything away, but yeah, she just kind of tricked you into this plot line that never happened, which I thought would have made the book really good. We have The Best of Me by Nicholas Sparks. Honestly, I'm gonna go to mid. I love Nicholas Sparks. He was like an OG favorite author of mine. I just think now seeing the writing back then compared to like what writing is right now, not that it's really changed dramatically, but I just remember when he was such like a big, like, infamous romance author where like people would like wait in lines to go like buy his newest book, you know what I mean? Whereas now, like, the hype for him is just not there, where it's like other books are really, really hyped, but the writing style is so much different. He's definitely more of like a literary fiction romance writer. It's not purely romance. Like, there is a big overarching plot line that follows his books. There just happens to be romance in them, if that makes sense. I don't want to say the romance is all consuming. Like, there's so many other aspects to this book, and that like makes the story what it is. But yeah, not that I wouldn't classify this as a romance, because it was, but it's just like so much different than like the way that romances are now. So that's why I'm gonna say it's mid. I have loved other books by him before, so like, it's not that I don't like him. I do. I think that this one just like fell a little flat for me. But the one thing I will say is that the book is pretty true. Like, the movie is very true to the book. There's a few things left out, a few things changed, but otherwise I feel like the things that they changed for the movie made sense for people who didn't read the book. It's like, so you could grasp the storyline a little bit better compared to like where in the book, like, you have so much more description as to like what's going on. Whereas the changes that they made for the movie made sense because it was easier to connect. The Lost Sisters. We're gonna put this in mid because this is book 1.5 in the Cruel Prince Folk of the Air series. This is a little novella told in Taryn's point of view. So if you've read The Cruel Prince, this book comes right after that one. This one, like I said, is told from Taryn's point of view. And basically it's Taryn telling you like why she did what she did in the book, or like why things happened the way that they did. It just solidified to me Taryn's true character. I don't want to say anything else because if you haven't read The Cruel Prince, it's kind of a spoiler. But Taryn's true character is kind of, I feel like, given in this one a little bit more compared to like the other ones. We're gonna move on. All right, we have next up Namaste and Code All Day by Allie Williams. I read this actually as a beta reader and I fell in love with it the moment that I read it. Okay, Zeke and Gabby, so cute. I loved them so much. The amount of times that I was like giggling and laughing and like the whole 9 yards. Okay, this one was really cute. This one is a friends to lovers and there's no like third act breakup or anything like that. To be quite honest, I don't know if there's really like a plot line. There is, but like isn't at the same time. Like, but Gabby like doesn't necessarily like, I don't know, she believes like love is all just timing. Zeke doesn't believe that, and like that's like the big conflict, but I don't know. Honestly, it's been a while since I've read it. I read this as a beta reader and then I just reread it because it is out on Kindle Unlimited now. So I ended up reading this like so long ago. And I kind of just like more of skimmed it and like read it while I did cardio as my reread. But either way, I did love it. It was really, really good. Really fun time. Next up, we have Curse of the Wolf King. This is a part of the Entangled with Fae series. I want to say I'm like obsessed with this series, but I'm going to put this in loved because I didn't like this one as much as I liked the second book. And this one is the first one. Not technically, this one is the first one. I just happened to have read the second book first. I liked that one more than I liked this one, but I still loved this one. This one is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. The great thing about these books is that they do stick to that true like plotline of the fairy tale they're following, but they are so good at making it different where it doesn't just feel like you're reading a play-by-play of this like Disney fairy tale. You know what I mean? If this didn't say this was a Beauty and the Beast retelling, I probably wouldn't have known. The only thing that gives it away is obviously they still use the rose as like the counting down to like this curse taking over him, which is the same thing that happens in Beauty and the Beast. But like if the rose wasn't a thing and it was something else, I probably wouldn't have even connected the fact that it was a Beauty and the Beast retelling. But either way, really loved it. It was great. Obviously highly recommend reading them in order because this book definitely sets up for the rest of the Entangled with Fae series. This series too also has a bunch of prequel series, so if you wanted to read those as well, like I'm sure that those were good. I haven't read them yet, but I do want to. I really do want to. Next up, we have Nora Goes Off Script. I'm kind of torn between putting this one in mid and very cute, very fun, and very demure. I think I'm gonna do here very cute, very fun, very demure. This one has very limited spice. It is talked about, but it's nothing like a graphic scene or anything like that. It's just like talked about in a more adult manner. I really, really, really love Annabelle Monaghan. This book though was the second book that I've read by her. I don't know what it was. This book was really short. I did enjoy it, but like the main male character just confused me to no end, whereas in the end it was all resolved and like cleared up. But even in the beginning, like who he was, I was kind of like, what the heck is going on with this man? He is a famous movie star and she is a screenwriter, but she writes for like the Romance Channel, which is the Hallmark Channel essentially. But she wrote a script that ended up getting picked up and turned into a really big movie. The one script that she wrote, he is starring in, and so they film a few days at her house for one of the scenes. He comes so that he can film. He has his own trailer, so he stays there, but then he just doesn't leave. And it like is like, huh? Okay. And he kind of just like gets to know them and gets to know this family because she's a single mom. I really did like her story though, and the way that this is such a non-traditional romance, I really did love. And I think obviously that's like definitely the point of the book, is like that it's like a non-traditional romance. You know, like she's falling in love with this man but doesn't really realize it, and like the way that they fall in love is very untraditional. And the only reason I like was torn between the two was because I literally was just like, he was confusing me, and then plus like the book just like did so many jumps, and I was just kind of reading it and I was like, okay, this isn't giving me that like tingly feeling, but it was a really good time. Let's move on. This one is called That Kind of Guy and it's by Stephanie Archer. Okay. I know you can't really see. Stephanie Archer, okay, love her. She's such a great author. Putting it in loved, because I was kind of in a reading slump when I was reading this, and I'm not saying that this got me out of my reading slump, but it helped. It really did. Even though I was reading so much romance already at the time, really helped. This one was just so fun. This is a enemies to lovers, fake dating, small town romance. This is again another series where I read the second book before the first one, and this is the first one in that series. The second one is called The Wrong Mr. Right, and that one was actually like one of my most raved about books last year. Like I literally I think that was in my top 23 for 2023 books. I really liked this one. I obviously didn't like this one as much as I liked the other one, but again, that could be because I was kind of in a slump. But either way, this one was super fun. He's running for mayor and she wants to buy the restaurant that she works at. So they basically start fake dating because he has enough money to be a co-signer on her loan, and he has a reputation in town, and he believes that if he gets someone to be his girlfriend and then be his wife, that will make his poll numbers better and that he would be able to get mayor, be able to be elected mayor and stuff like that. Yeah, that's basically what happens in the book, and it's a fun time. Anyways, next up, we have Same Time Next Summer by Annabelle Monaghan. This is the first book I read by her, and I absolutely loved it. So that one is going here, absolutely. Yes, I did really love this book, and I feel like this one is not her most loved book, which to me is weird. I haven't read her newest release yet, so I'll have to see. But I really did love this book. I loved the relationship between her and Wyatt. I can't remember her name, but I know his name was Wyatt. Oh, Sam. But she comes basically back to her childhood vacation home. They summered together and their vacation homes were right next to each other, and basically they were they're each other's first loves. And then so she comes back to the summer vacation home one year, and he just so happens to be there, and she is now engaged to somebody else. So she brings her new fiance because they're thinking about getting married there, is really trying to figure out what she wants in life because she feels like she's just doing things and just going through the motions, and it's not doing things that she loves. And she feels like her life is being controlled by this, by this thing. So she comes back to really kind of get a fresh new perspective, I guess. Honestly, I couldn't really tell you. I am so tired. Oh my God. I don't know what is going on. Same Time Next Summer. I really loved it. I loved the story between Wyatt and Sam. It's just a really cute story. It's just a really cute romance. Okay. Next up, we have Reckless. Very cute, very fun, very demure. Okay, it needs to go there. This again, young adult fantasy. I actually really did like this one way more than I liked Powerless. Granted, this book probably could have been better than what it was, even though she knew that this was just a middle book. It was very much just to build to the next one. It's just a bridge. The adventure, all the the new places that you got to go and see see the development within the characters, and that they still feel this way about each other despite everything that's happened. I really did like seeing. It was really nice because now they're kind of back to enemies again. I am excited for the third book, so I really did like this one compared to the first one. I do highly recommend if you were on the fence reading this one and then deciding, because the cliffhanger at the end, very surprising. Even though I guessed it, I knew what it was. Give it a shot. Give it a shot. Okay, next up we have Where We Left Off. This is gonna go unforgettable. Probably none of you guys know what this book is. Let me tell you. I literally was so scared. And this is a romance. I was scared for a different reason. Let me tell you. Basically, you get this glimpse. These two people, they start dating, and he then moves away. The thing is, something really bad happened right before he moved away, where she broke up with him. Something really bad happened that she thought was his fault. She broke up with him right before he moved away, even though he wanted to come back to that school because I think his dad lived there in this area. He was just moving away because his mom got remarried, type of thing. Not a secret, right? I think 2 years later, comes back. This all happens right in the beginning of the book. You find out. Guess what you find out? Honestly, I don't know if that's a spoiler. I don't know if I should say. I'm going to say it anyway. I don't know if any of you are going to read this book. But just so you have fair warning on this. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to explain this as best as I can because I can remember it. Her mom starts dating someone. Interesting, right? She decides, okay, it's time for you to meet the man I'm dating. She goes to the man's house, and the guy, he's a very wonderful man, right? He goes, oh yeah, and you'll meet my son. Cool. Guess who the son is? So yes, they dated and now their parents are dating. But it's not. They're not step siblings, kids. Their parents are dating. They're not married. And they dated first. I just wanted you to have that fair warning. Okay, we're going to move on. Okay. Love on Deck. This was very cute, very fun, very demure. I really liked this book. It was a super fun time. It takes place on a ship. They go on a cruise. They're enemies to lovers. So she really does not like him. And he likes her. But he's like, I don't understand why she doesn't like me so much. Enemies to lovers, fake dating, romance. Their friends, or her sister and his best friend, are getting married. So they're going on this cruise so they can get married. You know, the whole thing happens. Very cute, very fun time. It was honestly a really good read. I wasn't expecting this one to actually hit as hard as it did, but it was good. I really liked it. So I actually definitely recommend that you read it. It's a really cute, really fun summer read. Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. We're gonna go, honestly, I'm gonna put this as forgettable. It's between the mid and forgettable. I remember that I read it, but honestly, I could not tell you a single thing about the book, nor did I connect it to any of the characters. Nor do I think that it was advertised right, because they definitely say that this one is not like any book that she's written before, and that it's very more physical driven and very much oh, they only like to have physical relationships. But I just didn't get that from the characters and the story. The way that he acted, especially towards her, just didn't give that off. For her, I could see it because they never say she's got some type of social barrier or something like that, but it makes it seem like she does. So her character's a little odd, but I don't know. I just think that it was just, I don't know. It just wasn't her best work. It wasn't as fun. It wasn't as swoon worthy and entertaining. Okay, Twisted Love. I'm gonna put this one at loved, because it's not demure in the slightest. I really, really liked it. Yeah, I just really liked it. Alex Volkov, in a book sense, love him. In a real sense, if I had a man like that, I'd be running for the hills. I'd be okay, this is scary. Very borderline stalkerish. Very borderline restraining order. And also the way that he was written and the way that he thought of himself, kind of fucking comical, honestly. But I ate it, okay? It was good. It was a fun time. And I think that's kind of really just the point. You know, it's a really fun, spicy romance, okay? Part of your world. Let's do very cute, very fun, very demure. There is spice in this book, but it's not an overwhelming amount or anything like that, okay? Just so we're aware. Really like this book. This is the first book I actually ever read by Abby Jimenez. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of her books. Her writing style is very, very good. And I really loved the way that she told this story. Another big part of this book that I really liked actually is that it tackles so many other the way that you should be treated and loved as a person compared to what you're used to. So for reference, this book, kind of strict trigger warnings. This book deals a lot with mental and emotional abuse from partners and family, growing up in two different realms of life. So she is a doctor. He is a country boy. He lives in a really, really small town. He runs an Airbnb. He's also a carpenter. She's a doctor, and her parents are world-renowned surgeons, and they have these really high expectations of her, and they kind of were really abusive towards them or towards her whole life, very emotionally. And then she has an ex-boyfriend who was also very abusive towards her. So I really like that aspect of it, that it really showed you the different sides of how you should be treated and the way that you're used to being treated and what is actually right and normal, but putting it into a fun romance to make you still feel good despite all this heaviness that is still talked about. Yeah, okay, let's move on because I've been talking for too long, okay? I'm sorry. Okay, Youth of You, absolutely loved. I cannot talk about this enough. I absolutely fell in love with Noelle and Theo. I've said this before. I don't know what it is about men named Theo, but but they are just amazing. This is an enemies to lovers romance. It's an adventure romance. It's just very cute, very fun, very flirty. Made me swoon in so many different ways. Finds old pictures of her grandmother who has just passed away, so she's dealing with a lot of grief, and she makes a TikTok about it, and she's like, hey, can anyone help me find the man in these photos because it wasn't her grandfather. And then someone comments back on that TikTok being like, that's my grandfather. And then so she wants to meet this man who used to love her grandma, because it was a very big romance, because she found letters and stuff like that, as well as more photos. It's very fun, very good time. Absolutely read it. I love Jessica Joyce. Her writing is so good. She does a great way of making the writing seem so simple, even though it's more than simple. It's just like, she makes you feel like it's simple when it's like, wow, this is a hard-hitting thing, you know? I have the box set of the Inheritance games next, because I read all 3 of these books, and I'm just going to collectively put them in the same place, because honestly, I think that's where they should all go. I think to me, they're all very similar. So I'm going to put this in the very cute, very fun, very demure. Young adult mystery. Super fun. Like, think young adult Knives Out, okay? I feel like that's all I need to say. Avery Grams inherits this giant fortune from Tobias Hawthorne, a man she doesn't know. And she basically is like trying to figure out all these riddles and games that he has set aside for them to figure out as to why she has inherited this fortune. So, and that takes place throughout all 3 books. So, very fun time. Definitely read it if you haven't. This summer will be different. At the time I read this, I really did like it. But honestly, I'm going to put this in forgettable, because I kind of forgot that I did read it. Like, I really did like it at the beginning. And the male main character in this book, I really did like. There is a book that I forgot. Did I ever rate it on my Goodreads? I never put it on my Goodreads. Huh. Sorry, that was just, I literally was looking and I was like, wait a second, where's this book? Because I knew where I was going to put it. Okay, well, it's not on here because you can't see it, but I'm gonna do that one really quick. The X-Vows. I'm just gonna put that one here as mid. I read the X-Vows. It was okay. I didn't love it as much as I thought I was going to. The female main character, she was very melancholy throughout the entire book, and I feel like that just really set the tone, and it just wasn't it. Anyways, moving back onto the book I was just on. This summer will be different. Like I said, it was very forgettable. I don't know, it just wasn't anything special. I really did like the male main character though, Felix. Like, he was super cute. I thought, stand-up guy, honestly. So, anyways, moving on. The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. I'm going to put this as very fun, very cute, very demure, because that's what it was. There was no spice in this. She is the bodyguard, and he is a professional. He is a famous actor. He is having some, safety situations, safety scares. They basically bring him in because he has to go visit his family, and they don't want anyone bothering him while he does that. So she also has to pretend to be his girlfriend so that his family doesn't know that he has to have a bodyguard. But a very fun time, okay? It's a really fun read. Read it. Okay, next up, we have Trick Play. This is a novella to a series, the Heston U Hot Shots. I absolutely love this series, and this little novella I loved. Okay, let me tell you, this one had me giggling and kicking my feet. I don't know what it is about these hockey romances, but they get me every time, okay? They get me every time. So I absolutely loved it, and that's all I'm going to say about it. It's a novella, so there's not much to it. It's 150 pages. Just a fun little read. We have The Keeper. This one, I'm going to put in loved as well, because I did love this one. This one, again, is a part of this series. So The Keeper was the first one. This was the second one? Yes, second one. This was the second one. I feel like I said this was the third one before. It's not the third. That's the second one. These are part of the same series, as if you couldn't tell. But yes, very fun, awesome. It's very spicy, both of them. Very, very spicy. This one is a drunken marriage in Las Vegas. So fun. He's a professional hockey player. Her family owns the hockey team. So yeah. Fun time. And then Powerful by Lauren Roberts, which is the novella. This was very cute, very fun, very demure. Very cute little novella. Had a good time while reading it. I have beef with Lauren Roberts because the fact that she wrote this whole book for Adina, and then as if I didn't know what was going to happen at the end, made me relive it for a second time. So, that happened. Anyways, I did like the book. I thought it was really good for a novella. I thought it was a little fun, little story to give Adina. considering she was such a cute little character in the book and I really liked her. Wow, I can't believe I've been talking for over an hour. I really did not think it was going to take me this long to film this. Oh my god. But anyways, that is it. That is tier ranking all my reads that I read this summer. We have a decent amount that I loved, actually. Way more than I thought. But like I said, I had a very slumpy summer, so to have this many books that I did love, very good actually. That is it. Those are all the books that I read this summer. I really hope that you read some of them. But anyways, that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for sticking around and listening to me talk about these books that I read this summer. If you want more constant updates, go ahead and follow me on my Bookstagram as well as my normal Instagram. And then go ahead and follow me on Goodreads. I am definitely most active on there, so if you want more updated book updates as well as book updates on my Bookstagram, go follow me there, both of those places. And thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.